It's a little hard to believe that Michelle Benjamin was ever an introvert. But childhood abuse left her with physical and emotional injuries, including difficulty relating to people. But she could always relate to animals.
Well, I had what I call a limitation, so I had a very difficult time comprehending language. I knew something was terribly wrong. I wasn't getting along as well as the other children around me, but I couldn't tell what it was. It was a great source of distress and fear for me. I was very reclusive and spent a lot of time by myself outside.
As Michelle got older, she sought medical help for her condition, but her fear of people was more difficult to overcome.
If you've ever been to the racehorses, there's an incredible amount of energy just before they let them out of the gate. Well, I felt like I was stuck in the gate, you see, for all these years.
Michelle finally found comfort in birds. She and her husband bought an injured African gray parrot. Michelle helped the bird overcome its injuries, and soon, with the help of her family, she opened her home to a variety of mistreated and neglected exotic birds.
I got to recognize quite quickly into the process that my state of feeling directly influenced the quality of being that the bird was.
Good morning, Sammy.
So, for example, if I was going to approach a bird and I was in a state of anxiety or fear, that I would more readily get bitten.
All right, here you go. All right.
On the other hand, the more peaceful I remained, the more success I had in being able to approach these animals and have physical contact with them.
She started to develop unique techniques for exercising her housebound birds, even teaching some of them to fly for the very first time.
To think that my problems were bad, and I start to imagine what these birds had experienced, gave me permission to leave my misery in the dust.
And Michelle found her self-consciousness melting away.
So here I am with a wild macaw on my hand in this magical moment. I'd start to move like I did when I was a child, or I'd start to sing. Not only did the bird react, but the bird encouraged me by getting even more relaxed and even more playful. So then I get the situation where if I totally let go and let this happen.
You want to go? Come on.
Wonderful feedback comes from this wild creature who's been so hurt.
You gotta stay relaxed to do this. You remember, right? You're gonna stay relaxed. Okay, you relaxed? Are you ready? You ready? Here we go.
Eventually, Michelle wanted to share this gift with the outside world, to take her parrot parties public.
So that they could become teachers for others, like they've been for me. Children, people who love animals. And then it occurred to me also that it would be good for the birds, because I can be a three-winged circus, but I have limitations.
That's when she met Ron DeZoo, a bird lover who was looking for a home for a Temne gray named Kenny.
Kenny came to Canada from the Belgian Congo. Kenny must have spent about a week in a box on a boat.
Capture and transport had left the bird with a broken wing and crushed feet. He survived, only to spend years neglected in a cramped cage. The bird could barely stand on a branch, let alone on someone's finger.
When I would go to grab him, he would go completely docile. And I think that was his human experience. He was so traumatized by the event that he just associates humans with pain.
He was very weak and in rough shape. I started to work with a form of physical therapy called osteopathy, which is very gentle manipulation of the bones and muscle tissue.
Look at these terrible, twisted little feet. Yes, come on.
Not being able to perch very well was one of the major drains on his system,
There you go. That's a good baby.
because he had to use an awful lot of energy just to maintain an upright position.
Good, there you go.
After months of tireless effort, Kenny made incredible progress.
Oh, what a beautiful little bird. Look what you just did. That's wonderful. Want to take a fly? Here we go. Have a fly. There you go. That's
Next, Michelle began to strengthen his broken wing.
what a beautiful little bird. Look at that.
He won't be able to fly, literally, ever, but he can do that motion, and it doesn't hurt. You can tell it doesn't hurt him to do that, which is an important and pleasing shift for him.
Oh, you can fly. What a love.
Come on up. It's okay. Come on up.
When Ron came back to visit, he was amazed.
The fact that he would be open to going on my finger, I was shocked because I'd given up. He has a self-confidence about him now that is really neat to see.
Kenny thrived on personal contact, but with a growing flock and her children leaving home, Michelle worried about the lack of interaction her birds would have. Then she met Cecilia Hall, whose son Oliver had been depressed since his parents' divorce.
So we were going to be living without a father. We lived for quite a long time in a smaller country town. And then when we moved to Vancouver, you know, that was a really big change for us, city life. He really did miss his dad. Sometimes when his dad left, he'd crawl up into a ball and lay on the couch and just cover himself with a blanket and cry.
Without any friends, Oliver didn't want to go to school. He felt alone.
Just go real slow and stay close.
Oliver had always been fascinated by birds. Cecilia thought it might be helpful for him to meet Michelle and her flock.
I felt really excited. What I like most about birds is probably their ability to fly
There we go. You want to talk to him? That's a good bird. There.
and the way that they can sort of communicate with humans.
Come and try. Touch him.
The first time he came here, his enthusiasm was brimming, and he was pleading for guidance. So I said, you can pay attention to your own energy. You want to stay relaxed? Because the birds are very, very sensitive, and they'll be able to tell that everything is okay by reading your energy.
Very soft. Right there. You ready?
He stood up and he grabbed on,
Is that all right?
and I was holding him. It's really
Good to you?
exciting.
Okay.
Oliver visited every week. As he helped Michelle care for the birds, his connection with Kenny grew stronger.
He's so cute. He's just a little bird, and he's come so far. I gave Kenny a lot of attention, and I think Kenny really likes that. It makes me feel sort of special that I'm able to actually do this with these animals.
We looked at it as a counselling session. She was helping build his self-esteem up, talking about communication and how to be happy within who you are.
As his self-esteem grew, Oliver had a much easier time relating to things at school.
And the teacher would come up and say to me, well, Oliver's a lot more confident. Oliver's a lot calmer than he was before.
In the end, it turned out pretty good because there's a lot of new kids and kids who I didn't know, and so most of them turned out pretty good. You don't want to just put up a big wall. You just want to be open.
Oliver's journey from helpless to helper is a familiar one to Michelle.
Originally, all I wanted to do was to find a way to be a little better off than I was and to be helpful to some living being. That's all I wanted to do. And now look, now we've got a whole community of birds and a whole community of kids, a whole community of people and beings just hanging out with one another.
Michelle's desire to make a better life for her birds is now healing others. And in the process, she's overcome her own fears and has learned to fly.